One. Here we go!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's installment of We Talk. I am Yolanda Nel and I will be your host. Today we head over to the Cancer Association where we speak to Rolf Hansen about the International Cancer Awareness Day coming up on Saturday, the 4th of February. Myself and Rolf Hansen also head over to the Can Kitchen where we are preparing butter chicken. This initiative is proudly sponsored by Checkers and we are very excited to launch it today, and this will be running for the next 6 weeks. We also prepared a recipe book, and if you want more information on that, just stick around for the interview to know exactly how you can get your hands on a copy. Next up, we will quickly look at the news. In today's news segment, we will take a look at what the WHO had to say about being vigilant when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic.
So the decision that was made, or the advice that was given to us by this independent emergency committee, was for the world. It's global advice, and it says this is where the global situation is, and the global situation does remain a public health emergency of international concern. But we do recognize that different countries are at different stages, or have different situations in their own communities. So no country will be exactly at the same point. But this was a characterization of where we are as the world. The numbers coming out of China suggest that now the surge is passing. That's very good news, especially for the Chinese people, so that they can at least enjoy the time together during the Spring Festival. But it doesn't mean that you say it's over. It means that you still must be vigilant. You still must be watching what happens next. This is an unstable virus. It keeps on tricking us. So we all have to really remain vigilant. There are not official laid down criteria. And one of the reasons for that is that every public health emergency of international concern we've had has been very different. So we've had quite different ways in which a transition has occurred. For instance, for Ebola, it's quite often after all cases are finished and there were clear criteria. But for other diseases, the criteria were not set hard and fast. So again, that's why each of our emergency committees that advise us on this are all made of different people. They're not the same committee. There are people with that kind of expertise who can say, now, this is where we are now. This is why we think, looking at the global data, that we're moving into this phase. And that's the advice they give the director General, Dr. Tedros, and he is actually the one in the end who says, okay, yes or no.
And in some other international news, we take a look at what the British Prime Minister had to say about raising wages because it can only lead to higher inflation levels.
So we are having those wide-ranging discussions. What is not realistic is for us to be looking at inflation or inflation-busting pay rises. What we've said is, inflation is there, it's a spike, it's obviously affecting everybody in the country. We understand that, and we understand that obviously it's making people feel poorer. But the most important thing for us to do as the government is to halve inflation, is to get inflation down so that everybody feels better off. We cannot risk fueling inflation with above inflation, inflation-busting pay rises. And we've been very clear on that point. We have to look after everybody in the economy, and that is the very best way to get over this spike in inflation, which is causing a lot of concern around pay. And we do understand that. The very first thing I had to do when I started this job on the 25th of October was I had a letter from all the unions, and we talked about school funding, saying we need an extra £2 billion next year and the year after to pay for the pay rises that are above what we've put in our budgets, and for also the inflationary pressures on schools. And that was the very first thing I had to do. And I went to the Chancellor. It was the autumn statement, very difficult economic times, and the Chancellor gave us in full £2 billion for schools, which will go into schools next year and the year after. So, and they're being funded at the highest they ever have been. And all the Secretaries of State are all meeting. I know my colleagues in transport and in health are meeting and are very open. But what we cannot do is give inflation-busting pay rises to one part of the workforce and make inflation worse for everybody. That's not an economically sensible thing to do. And we've said, and the Prime Minister has said, he will work his hardest to halve inflation, to make sure it's halved before the end of this year. We have to get inflation down, and we know why inflation's there. The war in Ukraine, the overhang from the pandemic. Every government across the world is dealing with the same thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today we are joined with the Cancer Association. We are talking to Rolf and with Gerhardus. Thank you for joining us in the studio.
Always a pleasure being here.
Rolf, on the 4th of February we are celebrating International Cancer Awareness Day. So the two of us went to the Can Kitchen, and together with Checkers we have a very big campaign. And we are cooking, and we have a cookbook that we wrote together, and I'm very excited to launch it. How was that process for you?
Well, as you can see from the size of my body, I've picked up a lot of weight after all of that lovely cooking and tasting. I feel very much at home in a kitchen. It's my sanctuary. It's where I find peace and solace. And to be able to do something that I feel so passionately about, cooking, as well as my job that I truly love, and to do that for a good cause was so much fun, and I had so much fun doing it with you. So very nice and easy, good recipe. So I hope all of you enjoy, and please do purchase the cookbook. It is for a very worthy cause, and it's really lovely meals that Yolanda and the team have prepared there for us, the recipe. So yeah.
I think for me too, I love cooking, and food brings everyone together for me. It's where we prepare it together and we sit down and we eat what we made, and making things from scratch. And now with Checkers being able to give back, that for me is just fantastic. And I also love eating, and I don't mind spending hours in the kitchen, but if it can go quickly, and it saves time, especially in the week.
I think especially because we live in such a rushed society, and it's work, it's family, it's children, and then when you can eat good and healthy, that's a bonus. I mean, I personally love good food and good wine, so the recipes worked for me. I enjoyed every moment of cooking it with you. And I'm very certain that everyone out there will enjoy it. And thanks again to Checkers, long partner of the Cancer Association. Brilliant corporate citizenry displayed there, supporting. And ingredients are fresh, available, and at a very good price. So yeah, thank you very much for that.
When we talk about cancer, yes, there are stories of hope, but generally it's very emotionally heavy. How do you work to not take all that emotion onto yourself?
So I think from a management point of view, we try to buffer the rest of the team a lot. But we try to engage, we try to speak, and we have debriefing sessions as well. We've got an in-house counselor, Talma, who comes and speaks. And if you are truly overwhelmed, especially our Circle of Hope team and the psychosocial support team, they have a really daunting task. We are 3 people in the country, Sister Rachel Tredeker, Talma and I, who actually go out and prepare the family and the patient when the cancer treatment is not successful and death is the only outcome. So we prepare with the pre-grieving and everything. That is, I think, the sad part of our job, especially when we lose the children, our babies. And we have to debrief, and I think this is something that we all have to recognize, that because you have been born, you must die. But it's a matter of how we pass on from this stage to the next. It's the journey. And if we can help them, it is so important. And yeah, I think this is where you're heading towards. This is also why it is important that we establish a palliative care center as Cancer Association. It's a big project and it's a big plan for this year. It's all because of you, Namibia, supporting us that we can do this. And the whole team is involved with design and fundraising. Gerardus has the daunting responsibility of finding the donors and the funds and doing the events and everything. But the reality is that we need to look at cancer from the beginning till the end. It is not just about awareness creation. It's about the detection, the early detection. It's about the diagnosis. It's about the treatment. It's about the support, the care. Us as team, you even who are engaged with us so often, we deal with hope, yes, but we also deal with a lot of sadness, frustration, anger, and then death, yes. So we hope that this year will open a lot of doors to support our patients, to support our community. But yes, sometimes if you do pick up the phone and you phone us and we're not the chirpiest and happiest like myself this morning, we do have off days as well.
But that's human.
Yeah.
Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined with Rolf Hansen and Gerardus from the Cancer Association, and it is in the run-up to World Cancer Awareness Day that's taking place on the 4th of February. Rolf, you mentioned that palliative care is a real possibility for Namibia this year. Tell us about this project.
So I think as part of the long-term plan and the vision that we've had as Cancer Association, the strategic vision has been to look at the whole cancer care continuum. It starts with the awareness and education around the disease, and then the National Cancer Program was established in August 2015 because I saw there was a great need to be out in the field and to be in the regions. Now you've got education, awareness, you've got screening and detection, and then the treatment starts. You've got the support to our interim homes, you've got the support to our patient financial assistance program. But the reality is that in some instances, people do not make it. We generally speak of palliative care from the moment of diagnosis. So palliative care, palliation starts from the moment of diagnosis, and then it's pain management, psychosocial care and support all the way through. Sometimes, and especially the case of breast cancer, the surgery is rather emotionally stirring, it is scarring, and very often we found that the patient feels a bit confined and also a bit reluctant to go home because it's a very big wound, it's a scary wound, and the breast drainage pump is a difficult one to clean, so family members are often a bit scared on how to do it. And then, as I said, sometimes the end-of-life procedure is a very difficult one. So we found that, especially with state patients, they have nowhere to go. Smaller and confined families who are not used to this, they're a bit afraid. So the palliative care center is all about creating a safe space, a good environment, a caring and loving environment where our patients can either recover, rehabilitate, or the end of life process comes to pass. And I'm very proud to say that we have worked very hard towards this. We've sold lots and lots of apples through the years, millions and millions of apples. And because of your generous donations, Namibia, we have acquired the property. The construction work is kicking off in March this year. And hopefully by the end of 2023, the first palliative care center in Namibia will officially open its doors.
I know we've been talking about it for a while, and to know it's finally happening, we will be able to see this project really come to life this year is fantastic.
It's amazing. It's been a lot of stress and a lot of training and capacity building, but it's been a brilliant journey, and I'm very excited. We've got Dr. Bertha Simasiku from Dr. A.B. May Cancer Care Center at Windhoek Central Hospital, whom we are paying to do the specialization in palliative care. And then our own sister Aina Gitongo will be a palliative care specialized nurse after this whole training this year. So we have capacitated, we've got the property, we've got doctors involved, specialists involved. And I think, yeah, it's a brilliant chapter, the first of a very sensitive but very important chapter that is being unfolded.
Straight Talk is a debate competition for high school learners and a spelling competition for primary school learners, mostly focusing on current affairs among the youth. Contact Zone at synergy.com.na to share your products and services. Straight Talk. Don't raise your voice, improve your argument.
To our first weekend cooking show that the Windhoek Express together with the Cancer Association is hosting, and with me is CEO of the Cancer Association, Rolf Hansen. Welcome.
Hi Yolanda, thank you for having me, and what an exciting new journey this is to share with Namibians how we cook, if we can cook.
Well, if we can cook within 20 minutes, then I'm happy.
Let's go for it.
Great. Okay, today we will be making butter chicken. So we start by placing a little bit of oil in the pan.
Would you like oil or butter?
Well, whichever you prefer.
Okay, so oil is very good, but because it's the Cancer Association, we prefer to go rather with true unique butter. And I have to say, thank you so much to Checkers for sponsoring our wonderful ingredients. So how much butter? I think a spoonful?
Well, it's butter chicken, so...
So let's go for it. And yeah, garlic is there, I see as well. I like fresh garlic always.
And then we can throw in the onions.
Okay, let's go for onions. Would you like to stir the butter around?
Oh.
Okay. So about an onion or half an onion?
It's a full onion.
It's a full large onion. Okay, so we've got onion in.
And that we just stir until it's translucent. We can add some garlic to it.
Now, I love garlic.
Okay, so once this is translucent, we will just throw in our chicken.
So the chicken is just chicken breast that we've diced up into small cubes. All of this or half?
All of it.
Okay, cool. It's a big meal that we're doing. A family feast for 4, it seems. So with what would you serve this?
Typically with naan. But if you're not going the Indian way, then white rice also works well. But Rolf, let's just talk about this project we are having at the moment. We're also doing a recipe book.
Yes, so that's the cool idea behind it. I'm so thankful to the entire Windhoek Express, the Namibian Media Holdings and Checkers that have partnered with this amazing idea that Yolanda came up with to do a recipe book. And it's part of a can initiative that we started a few weeks ago to have a can cafe where we do easy dishes en masse to raise funds for the Cancer Association. And the recipe book flows out from this idea and this wonderful cooking show as well, where we do easy recipes, good food, wholesome food, because that's what life is all about, wholesome food. So please watch out for that one. Please do support. It's a very good cause. It's really going all towards the Patient Financial Assistance Fund of the Cancer Association, where we try to assist vulnerable cancer patients, transport, accommodation, and even just help with the financial support where they really need help, because there is a lot of issues in this country. Many people have lost their jobs, many people have had pay cuts. Cancer is on the rise in the country, so we really need to take hands and make a difference in our communities. Super. Shall we go for our spices?
Yes, please.
Okay. What is in here?
Okay, so here you have everything. You have your masala, your curry powder, cumin, ginger, more garlic. Okay, we can open the tomato sauce.
And then we do about
Half a bottle.
half a small bottle. So that would be about the size of a small teacup. So make it easy for everyone. Easy recipe, half the size of a small teacup.
Then you just stir. This is like the easiest recipe I've came across. I've tweaked it a little to our liking. They don't normally call for that much tomato sauce.
But it is amazing. It looks so good.
Oh, I wish you could smell what it's in.
Let's
here.
show them, everyone.
Okay.
So don't burn. So that's more or less where we are at right now. Is it good? Can everyone see? I hope so. I wish you could have smelled it. It's amazing. It's really a very good. Let's just scrape here some onions on the side still. It really is a fun recipe, and I must honestly say I like it because it is easy and it smells amazing.
You can open up the
So
cream.
this is about what 300,
Yeah.
250, 300.
And you know what? Now you just leave it to simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes for the cream just to thicken up a little bit. And there you have your butter chicken.
Oh my gosh, it looks amazing. It looks like the takeaway version. Girl, you've got it.
Oh, well, I'm so glad I can introduce you to make your own butter
I love
chicken
this.
now.
This is so happening this weekend. I love it. It's really nice.
So yeah, this is it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to taste a little bit of it before we go into letting it develop. Ooh, wow. That is good.
And then we will see you back in the kitchen next week. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost Friday, so let's take a look at what is on the calendar for this weekend.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to a new year of events. If you haven't seen it yet, the College of the Arts Department of Art and Design presents Art Splash, the annual student exhibition at the Namibian Art Association until the 10th of February. This Friday at 9, Namafo Ametse and Candice Mouton joined forces for their side-by-side exhibition taking place at the Village Opera House until March 1st. At 6, Kippy's Dance Bar reopens at 14 Andimba Toiva Yotoyevu Street for an evening of revelry. Then at 7:30, RAF, formerly the Bottomless Coffee Band, performs at the Swakopmund Hotel and Entertainment Centre. On Saturday at 8, the Windhoek Farmers Market takes place at the Showgrounds until 1, and at 9:30, Future Females Windhoek hosts a business coffee conversation at the Barn in Acacia Street. As from 11, the Windhoek Indie Music Fest takes place at the Ray Smoky Mare, featuring live performances by Rian Smit, The Yesterday, Janelle Botha, Lynn Marie, Jessica Ashley, and a host of others. And then at 12 o'clock, gates open to Big Ben's show at Palm Tree Park in Windhoek, with supporting acts by Slick Artie, 4x4 Too Much Power, and Fassy K. Finally, on Tuesday at 6, Belonging, an overgenerational multimedia exhibition by Matilda Sakari and Kirsty Lotti, opened at the Namibian Arts Association. Have a glorious weekend.
Sadly, the show has come to an end. I hope you had fun with us in the Can Kitchen. We hope to see you again next week. If you want your copy of that recipe book, simply head over to shop.my.na and get yourself a copy, while also making a big contribution towards the Cancer Association. See you next week. Goodbye.